Hi, this is Rob Polenick at Brutal Iron Gym. Today's workout was legs. I started with a circuit of machine calf raises on our hack squat and lying leg curls, and I was actually doing those in a single leg version. For the calf raises, I've been playing around with the right amount of rep range and weight load that feels best for creating muscular soreness / fatigue the next day. What I find is if I go too heavy, my feet actually hurt. If I go too light, it doesn't create enough of a lasting fatigue effect. It is a pump in the moment, but the very next day it feels like I did nothing and I could do them again. For me, I like 14 to 20 reps. I find that that is a really good blend of enough weight to create that soreness and fatigue the next day, but not so much weight that my feet hurt or I'm getting issues involved that aren't what I want. Now, when I used to train clients in person more, at the peak of my personal training business, when I was doing in-person clients, I was training 12 one-hour sessions a day, Monday through Friday, and then another 8 to 12 on Saturdays. Crazy, crazy, crazy amount of time on my feet. And then I was also doing my own workouts and everything else, cleaning the gym and whatnot. At that time, it didn't matter what the hell I did for my calves. They were rock solid. They looked good. I didn't even have to train them if I didn't want to. Being over 250 pounds, being on my feet for 14 hours a day, they took care of themselves. Now that I've transitioned to doing online work, I am sitting more. I have less time on my feet, and I've had to now play around with what are the best parameters to create muscle growth. What's been fun is I have found something that I think I really like, is the hack squat gives me a very solid structure. I can position myself and brace myself in it to where I have no deviation really from the perfect pathway. So it helps me really isolate into the muscle tension and develop that mind-muscle connection that I want. With the Rogue wedge, it's a 10-degree wedge on that machine, I can get a good enough stretch that I can emphasize the stretched position in the eccentric load, that I'm gonna get that stretch component that we know relates to muscle growth, but it's also a nice flat wedge surface. So I'm not digging into the balls of my feet with a sharp edge, or my feet aren't slipping off if it's a rounded bar. There's a lot of foot plates on many machines that don't feel as comfortable as this one. I have gotten to use, I believe it was Atlantis, they have a seated calf raise where the foot pedals actually move up and down rather than your heel moving up and down. That thing is freaking amazing. Love that. If I could ever find that for sale, I will get it maybe for the home gym. But it was a good one in the sense that it also offered that ability to have a solid foot position that didn't cause unnecessary pain or slippage. So I really like that. It's been going well. This year so far, I've lost 25 pounds and my calves haven't shrunk at all. They've stayed the same, which indicates that I've actually been able to put on some muscle, because losing 25 pounds, I've likely lost a little bit of fat on my calves. So for them to stay the same, I likely would have added some muscle tissue. There you go. The other things I think of for calf raises is making sure I'm a little bit of a pigeon-toed position and make sure I push through my big toes. And that gives me a nice full deep contraction through the calf. Then for lying leg curls, I was doing single leg. I typically prefer to do 2 legs at once because I can move more weight load, and even though that weight load is shared across both legs, I feel like it stresses the muscle fibers a little bit better. However, from time to time, I will do single leg just to change up the stimulus, and that's what today was for. I then moved on to a circuit of doing the hack squats like a normal way, just actual hack squats, and I supersetted that with a standing couch stretch, so it's a quad stretch. And the half squat sets were just warm-ups, like 3 warm-up sets, while I was doing 3 sets of the stretches. The stretches are great because it helps to open up tight tissues in your upper thighs, which can be the hip flexors, but also just the actual quad muscles. If you can open up those tissues and get them sliding and gliding like they really should, it can reduce patella tendonitis type pain or any kind of knee-related pain. So that way, when I go into my heavier quad-based work, whether that's hack squat, regular squats, leg press, whatever it might be, I have less tension through the kneecap, and that can alleviate a lot of pain that people sometimes feel in their knees. Then in the working sets of hack squats, I actually paired those with the Rogers Squat Pro that we have behind me. For the hack squats, I did that with the Rogue 10-degree wedge. So they were similar to what you might feel is like a front squat or a high bar squat with Olympic lifting shoes. Very quad dominant. And I did bottom partials, so that way I stayed away from overextending my legs. I like the bottom partials because for me, I can feel that better in my quad sweep, which I'm really trying to grow and create a much thicker, wider look to my legs. And then with that in mind, I was pairing that with the Rogers Squat Pro doing toe squats. I was squatting essentially without my heels touching the ground at all. So you're balancing on the balls of your feet, your toes, and then you're just squatting. With that, you wouldn't want to do a lot of weight because it is a little bit of a risky position. Certainly a lot of tension through your Achilles tendons. By pre-exhausting with the half squat, I was able to reduce the weight load needed for the toe squats. But the toe squats were great because I get a really extreme angle here of my tissues at the lower part of the quad, at the knee. So again, it really pulled down through the quad sweep. It's going to help me develop growth lower into the quads. We'll play with that over time and see, but that's the theory. And pre-exhausting with the half squat worked great. As I said, it reduced the amount of weight I needed on the Squat Pro to keep that safe, but also keep it maximally effective. If you're trying to pump up a muscle, having a pump before you even start works. I then finished with seal row bar RDLs. So Rogue makes a seal row bar, which is a bar that has a bend in the middle. And it's used for chest supported rows, so that way, whatever you're supporting your chest on, the bar doesn't hit into it. So that little dip in the middle saves the bar from hitting whatever you're leaning against. I do use that bar from time to time. We have a Sornex Apex rack and I have a Bulldog pad, which is a chest supported pad. However, I like using dumbbells instead because I like the converging component that dumbbells offer. When I'm using the bar, I tend to feel it more in my biceps and brachioradialis, more than I want to compared to feeling it in my back. I have a T-bar row set up that I like and prefer better that I can do at a high standing angle. So I like that better if I'm going to look for some type of row that does that with a barbell. Just not my favorite, but I do like using the seal row bar for RDLs. The main benefit is you can grab at the bend of the bar, and you'll see me do that in the videos, and it allows me to keep my hands actually closer together, almost at the outside of my thighs. That reduces the lower back stress, and it increases the stretch I feel in my upper hamstrings and lower glutes. So I find that the seal row bar isn't probably what Rogue made it for, but it works really well for doing RDLs. I finished up with 4 sets of that. I think I did 10 to 14 reps somewhere in there. It was a good heavy stimulus, but I was going slow and controlled and focused more on squeezing the muscles than going for a maximal weight load. Overall, this is a great workout. I liked a lot of the components. I'll be repeating those in future workouts, which you'll see. So if you give this workout a try, I hope you enjoyed as well, and thank you for watching.